When I was in the first grade, I remembered my first grade teacher coming and saying, "Don't get impatient, finish the wallpaper." She had told us all to do the best piece of artwork we knew to do with crayons, and I did the fishbowl that was sitting on her desk. And then I decided to put wallpaper behind it, so I got tired of doing the wallpaper. And she was probably the first one that said to me, "Don't get impatient, finish that wallpaper." And she entered it, and it won something, the school children of Jackson, and went to, was in Washington, D.C., and I was 6. So from that moment on, everybody said, "I bet you're gonna be an artist when you grow up." So it was just imprinted. Anytime somebody would say, "What are you gonna be when you grow up?" I always said, "I'm gonna be an artist when I grow up." I never had sculpted before. I did oil paintings, portrait oil paintings, and landscape oil paintings, when I got my art degrees. We had some painters at the house, and they left a bucket of wheat paste, and I got some paper towels and dipped it in the wheat paste and got a gourd out of the pasture, and that's what I did my first head in, and it was Santa Claus, and I went and cut the horse's tail off and made his hair, and then kind of got hooked on the three-dimensional, and then a friend of mine sent some pictures into a magazine that she knew. She wanted to be a photographer. She got me invited to a show in New York. It was the New York Toy Fair. At that time I had made actually 3 pieces seriously. Once I did the Easter Bunny and the upstairs maid for the house and the Santa Claus, I decided I would start learning how to do this a little bit, so I just started kind of experimenting. I was scared to death. I didn't know how to get these life-size things to New York. I had never been to New York. I didn't know anything about it. I told my husband what had happened and that I was going to take my work to New York. He said, "Well, how are you going to get it there?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to put it in the horse trailer and drive it up there." And he started laughing, and he said, "You can't take that up there in a horse trailer." And I said, "I can drive the horse trailer." And he said, "No, I mean, you don't take a horse trailer into Manhattan. You don't go into New York with a horse trailer." So I spent 2 weeks trying to find somebody. They weren't heavy enough for the truck line. They were too big for UPS. So just getting there was an adventure for me. Got on the plane, praying my work had gotten there by FedEx. Finally found FedEx would deliver it. And when I got there, I went down to shipping and got my pieces. And we were carrying them through the lobby of Javits Center, and everybody started staring. All the other artists and all the vendors and everybody was there just kind of started watching us walk through the lobby of the Javits Center with these life-size, I guess, looked like dead people. And they were all staring at me. And I'm thinking, you know how pride gets the best of you, and I'm thinking, they think I'm good. Their eyes would follow me as we walked through. And then I realized by the time I got upstairs to the booth that my work was to be in, I was the only life-size things in New York. So that was my first experience in New York. A gallery in Soho bought 2 of the 3 pieces. My pieces didn't actually sell at Toy Fair because nobody was looking for life-size. They didn't even really have room in their booth for them, but I managed to get them in there. But I got connected as people come through. The man for the Strykoff Fine Art Gallery that did the work invited me, and I showed with them for years. People get tickled and start smiling if I'm doing a mouse on a rat trap, and someone comes along and I hear them giggling and they ooh and they ah, they'll say something about it that I know that I've made them happy. It's a moment in their time that they've enjoyed something I've done. I've had people water up, and say, "I lost a child. This looks just exactly like my child." I didn't know it bothered anybody that I had a butler at the front door and an upstairs maid, but a mother called me and said, "I just feel like I need to tell you that Devin would spend the night with my youngest daughter, London, but I'll just be honest, they're all afraid that the people are going to come alive during the night. So I'm just telling you, it's not that they don't like London, they're just scared to spend the night with her." So that's when I think I first realized that people could be scared of things like this. When the burglar alarm goes on, the police come to your house, and if you're not there, they just get flashlights and go in. And one day we came in and the police were coming out of the house. The man came out and he said, everything's fine, it's nothing. There was a rabbit loose in the house, we have contained it. He didn't mention the fact that there were butlers in the house and people standing around the house. The police lady came out and, being a lot more honest, said to me, she said, well, I'll tell you one thing. That lady upstairs, I don't know if it was a maid or what it's doing that's dusting the books, scared me to death. And with that, the man said, well, thank goodness, because I pulled my gun on the guy in the hall. So I thought, okay, evidently, and especially I guess with a flashlight at night, they would be creepy. I never do just one at a time. I don't think ever started one and finished one before I start the next one. So it's always hard to tell how long it takes. Probably, I would say if I said a month, that would probably be if I only worked on that one every day. And that's from the beginning, from the sculpting of the head to the hands to the building of the body. That would be a very hard, productive month to get that done. But it takes a month on a small one too. The smaller pieces I do. It just takes that much tedious time. The more time I have, of course, the more tedious I'm going to be. But I usually have 2 or 3 started. Now I've got one in the process that needs oil painting. I've got some armatures. When I can't do any more of this, then I go make the armature for the hands. I don't just stick with one thing until I'm completed with it. I'm doing it for the Mississippi Music Experience, which is part of the Iron Horse restaurant. It's going to be in the building with the Iron Horse, but it's actually a museum. It was started to make Mississippi proud of our heritage, proud of where we're from, where music started. J-Mo Johansson is actually going to donate his entire drum set to our museum. So I will have him up there playing the drums with the drumsticks in his hands, hopefully when I get through with him. So we just want to make this museum just a little different, a little more art involved. I certainly can't sing or play music, but I can do what I can to promote it. When the Beatles came over from England, and the reporters all rushed, and there were hundreds or thousands of people out waiting to meet them when they got off the plane. And they said, what's the first thing you want to do now that you're in America? And they said, we want to meet Bo Diddley and Muddy Waters. And I think that one statement made me think, hey, this is bigger than I even imagined. So I'm hoping this museum and these people will show that we have something to be proud of. When they first asked me to do this, I started looking up what makes a museum great, what brings people to a museum, because a museum can be thought of as something that's boring and something that some people love them, some people don't. And the answer was something that people have never seen before, something that's different from all the other museums, and something that's exciting. It's one thing to see a picture of J-Mo Johansson, but I've got a whole folder of pictures of him from the back, the front, the side, laughing, smiling, upset. And if all that can be brought into one piece, then I think they can just get a little bit of depth of the soul of J-Mo that a flat portrait might not show. Instead of displaying his clothes that he wore over here, his shoes he wore over here, and his drum set over here, it can all be brought into one cohesive package. He's wearing his clothes, he's playing his drums, he was gray-headed, he wore glasses. You can just see it all easy in one quick glance. You see what kind of clothes he wore in the era that he's in. You see what instruments did he play, what type shoes he wore. Was he happy when he played? Did he close his eyes when he played? Some of our guitar players, did they sit down to play the guitar? I think it just shows a lot in one glance, and it's different. I think it's just something that I've not seen before. Who knows around the world what's been done, but as far as I know, no one's ever approached a museum like this. The way I've approached it is I get as many pictures as possible that are available of that particular artist. When I get all of them, I spread them out and I decide which one is the one that best exemplifies the character and the personality of him. Then I use profile shots, back of the head shots, top of the head shots, under the chin shots to kind of look at, but one usually basically that we choose that's the one that's the main look of him. as far as the clothes go. Sometimes, like the B.B. King, we're going to actually, we're working with the museum, the B.B. King Museum, to actually get some of his real clothes. We had Lucille in the studio here with me for a while. When I got through putting B.B.'s hands on the guitar and helping him play the C chord, then I didn't need the guitar for a while, so it went back, and I understand it's gone to the Grammys now, but we're getting another one. So some of the other museums are helping us get the authentic clothes. Sometimes we're having to go back and do a lot of research and finding pleated pants of 1930 to 1935 to be sure that we get the actual clothes they might have worn. We've got Jimmie Rodgers' actual guitar that he actually played, and I'm sculpting Jimmie Rodgers, so he's actually going to have his original guitar, which is very exciting. Anytime we can get the real thing, it's very exciting. If we can't get our hands on the real thing, we are doing a lot of research and getting as close to it as possible, and that's by going through photos to say, you know, did he wear his shirt usually untucked on the left side because he reached up with his guitar? Little bitty things, little details we're trying to incorporate. What kind of jewelry did he wear? Did he have a watch? What brand watch? What watches did they make in 1940? We're just doing everything we can to make them as authentic as we can. I think God has blessed me with something, and I just hope that I can live up to what He has given me the ability to do. And it's been a long journey. I've gone through sad times doing my artwork, and I've gone through wonderful times doing my artwork. And I think that it's all just a gift that we have a short time on this earth, and if God gives you something that every day you're excited about, every day you get up and can bless someone else with something that you're able to do, I think that is just icing on the cake for our life.